Hello again, people. This is the fourth out of four unboxings and first initial impressions for the expansions, first wave of Star Wars X-Wing miniature games. And before I begin, I just want to say thank you, Fantasy Flight, for all you've done. These miniatures are just extremely detailed, pre-painted, and yet, even if I wasn't playing the game, I'd still get this just to have like the miniatures on my shelf and fly around and go pew. But just, anyways, I can see all the love and care that's gone into this work, and this is one game I'm glad to pay full retail price at a board game store for. So, just, I got that out of the way now. I'm happy now. So, anyways, this is the TIE Advanced, and it is pretty much the same thing as the X-Wing. Why do you say it? Why do you say that? Because it has shields, and it pretty much has the same cost as an X-Wing. Yeah, it can also grab a target lock, which is nice. You never really appreciate the target locks as an Imperial player. You're always on the receiving end of them and trying to get out of them. Just using that expert handling, I guess. But, yeah. So, it's got, this is the just generic TIE Advanced. It's got 2 initiative, 2 shields, and 3 hull, just like the rookie pilot X-Wing. It's got the 2 attack, 3 evade, or 3 agility, flipped from the 3 attack to agility. So obviously they thought that was about equal, and it's 21 points. Another example of how they probably thought they're probably just making this like the Imperial answer to the X-Wing. Look at this. It's got 4 initiative, 23 points. It's just like the Red Squadron pilot in the initial core set and the X-Wing expansion. So, but the 2 pilots, one of them is definitely very situational. I'll go over that one first, and then the other one is named Darth Vader. Of course. They had to include him in there. Merrick Steele is the situational one. I believe he's from the expanded universe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Again, probably am. But when your attack deals a face-up damage card to the defender, instead draw 3 damage cards, choose one to deal, and discard the others. That is certainly very interesting, because normally critical damage is random, and you're just like, oh, I got this time. Oh, I got this that time. But now you can actually pick between which of 3 options you want to choose. Just drawing 3 cards off the damage deck. Okay. So, normally the first card off the deck would have been structural damage. It's an okay card, but if the ship had 1 hull point left, you had 1 hull point left, it could kill you easily, even with the structural damage. But if you got the choice of these 3 cards, and the ship had 1 hull point left, including this damage, you would obviously pick the direct hit. Counts as 2 damage, no hull points left, ship gone. But the TIE Advance is definitely going to want to get targeted by the other side to take out the only real powerhouse. Because in most games, you're only going to run 1 TIE Advanced, maybe 2. Because they're just as expensive as an X-Wing on points. And you run 2 X-Wings because that's all you have. All you have to run are X-Wings because Y-Wings you barely run 1 of. Excuse me, burped. But anyways, so Merrick Steele, he's kind of needs to be in a TIE Swarm, and I don't have that. Just have 1 of each expansion. Poor old me. And, anyways, I really don't know what to make of him, though. Oh, in case you're wondering, I made 2 videos of this earlier, but they were both too long for YouTube to accept, and I'd already played a game beforehand, so I thought I'd give my opinion on what I would have done differently had there been, or what I would have said differently if I had already known how to play, or how to play with these TIE Advanced. So, Darth Vader, 9 pilot skill, 29 cost. It's just kind of simple. During your perform action step, you may perform 2 actions, but incredibly, incredibly useful. Now, instead of waiting 2 turns to use a target lock and a focus, you can do that on 1 turn, just get your missiles out there. Oh, yes, that little symbol in the corner, that is missiles. So, it further reinforces the X-Wing idea, because now the TIE fighters can launch stuff at the X-Wings. And there are 2 of those, I'll get into those right after this. So you can get your missiles out there in 1 turn at maximum efficiency. You could do a evade and a focus, so that you can just completely not get hit this round. You could do barrel roll and target lock. Take target lock onto a ship, then barrel roll out of its line of fire. Or just many combinations. There have been many times in my games before this where I've always wished, oh, if only I could just do this action and that action this round, I would win. But now you can do that. It does cost 29 points though, so it is kind of expensive, and it might get taken out under combined fire. In fact, that is probably the first target that the enemy will target. So, just be careful with it. And you normally don't want to run 1 or 2 of these, because you need other ships to defend this TIE Advanced. It's almost kind of expected to be like that. So, anyways, onto the 2 missiles. They're Cluster and Concussion. They both cost 4. I have those in the corner. I covered them up, but now you can see them. They both cost 4, just like the Proton Torpedo. This one, Cluster Missiles, it only has an attack of 3 and at range 1 or 2. But you get to perform the attack twice. It sounds okay, but that also means, yeah, you get to roll 6 attack dice. That means the X-Wing is going to roll 4 defense dice as well. So, I guess it kind of evens out, and if you get really lucky on both of them, it could do up to 6 damage, which the Proton Torpedoes can't even match. But it's just luck-based, so if you have that much luck that consistently, you should be in Vegas instead of board gaming. This one I like a lot better. It's at 4 attack, range 2 to 3, and it has to do with changing your results. You may change one of your blank results to a hit result. That pretty much means that you are going to hit on your you are going to hit at least 1 roll. Especially combining this with Vader, they can do focus and a target lock to get this the concussion missiles out there almost first turn of the game when no one is expecting it. Have a reroll and have at least 1 or 2 hits, more likely 3. Yeah, I'd definitely run concussion missiles, and that would bring Vader up to 33, so that's a 30-er squad. But then just run a bunch of ties around him, keeping him almost kind of like a shroud. There's one more card in here that we haven't done because we already have Swarm Tactics covered in the TIE episode, and Marksmanship is in the core set. And Squad Leader, it's definitely, as you can see from the picture, Imperial. Not necessarily Imperial, but it is really only useful with Darth Vader's ability to perform 2 actions. Because this is giving an action to another ship that's right next to you. So, that's... it almost kind of allows you to act retroactively to the other people. I mean, if you've got your Academy pilot who's moved, and he's barrel-rolled into someone else's line, barrel-rolled, and gotten someone else in his firing arc, but then Wedge comes up right behind him, about to kill him, you can give him a free action. You can give the Academy pilot a free action to try and evade, or get an evade token on him, so that he at least has a chance at surviving. And it really only works with Darth Vader, because you normally want your higher pilots to have actions, but since Darth Vader has 2, if he doesn't need one, he can use it to almost kind of save the life of another dude. Second chance from the Force. Well, that pretty much just wraps it up with the TIE Advanced. I mean, there's a lot of similarities to the X-Wing that it already has. So it's, there's actually a discussion on the Board Game Geek, which I believe I mentioned in one other place, about whether this a one-on-one with a TIE Advanced versus a X-Wing would be a fair fight or not. And I believe it came out, yes. I'm not really sure, but because I haven't checked in a while, something else might have popped up on it. But general consensus was, yeah, this is a TIE fighter. This is a TIE fighter, but it's also an X-Wing. And it's just as good as one. Now, granted, it doesn't have as many upgrade slots because you can't put an astromech on it, but it's also got the really nice choice between the cluster missiles and the concussion missiles, and it's still got the elite pilot upgrades for the higher pilots. Well, anyways, this just kind of about wraps it up for unboxing all these parts. Just looking at them all, there's certainly a lot of stuff for your money. I mean, this is only $60, so it's about the price of a normal board game, this expansion. So, but yeah, the core set and one of each expansion is about the price of a board game, normal like big box fantasy flight board game, and its expansions, which run for like $60 and $40. Core set was $40. And the expansions are $15 each for 4, so that's $60. So that's going to be $100. But you could probably find it cheaper online. And you certainly get enough replayability value out of it because you got 4 ships on this side, you got 3 ships on the Rebel side. I know that was just one of each, but we've got beautifully painted miniatures. You've got like a board that just moves around. I've seen variants for moving asteroids. The asteroids could just kind of smack into your ship and damage it while you're just sitting there. And just overall, there's a bunch of different terrain. You can play with a bunch of different people, and they'll all deck out their squad in different ways, which means you need to fight them in different ways. And just, I think this is just as good as that Android Netrunner, which some of you may or may not have heard about. It's a reprint of the original Netrunner collectible card game from 1996, and that's also really about bluffing and just making sure to, bluffing, putting down stuff, making your opponent think you're going one way and doing the next. Not going to get in too big of a discussion, but I almost kind of think the movement dials, with the ability to pick which direction you want to go, are similar in direction. Or similar in concept to that, and similar in execution, because I've seen some plays where an X-Wing is right on the tail of a TIE Fighter, expects the TIE Fighter to do a Corrigan, the TIE Fighter just takes a turn and completely loses him, ends up coming from behind, killing him. Stuff like that. So, you really just have to outplay your opponent in this game. It's not how much you spend, but granted, if you go into other miniatures games, it takes $200, $300 to get a tournament-ready force. Here, I've got a complete X-Wing, a complete Rebel tournament force, and with one more TIE Fighter, or TIE Advanced, I would have a complete tournament-ready force for the Imperials. Because right now I'm running I had an 87-point squad total, using actually all cards from the expansion, the 3 named pilots from the TIE Fighter expansion, Darth Vader with, what was it? Squad leader and concussion missiles, and expert handling on Howl Runner, just to try to keep him alive. Didn't really work that well because no one put a target lock on him, because they all went on Vader, so I'd probably change that. But, anyways, this is just flat out a lot cheaper than any miniatures game. Any other miniatures game out there, and I'll reiterate it again, you don't have to paint it. Well, the time is wrapping up. I really don't want to have to record this again, because I go a few seconds over the YouTube time limit. So, I'll be posting new stuff on this channel, hopefully once a week. But, good luck and happy hunting.